What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, your host for this show, and happy Peace Week. What an incredible week it's been. It's been Peace Week, including the International Day of Peace or World Peace Day on Wednesday, the autumn equinox for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, and the spring equinox for our friends down under. And just a very powerful time astrologically, energetically, where we've all been coming together. And I know many of you have been participating in all the World Unity Week and Peace Week events that have been taking place. And we are continuing that theme, so welcome. In fact, you're going to meet two incredible people today that have been bringing peace to the world in powerful and wonderful ways. I'm really looking forward to our conversations we've got with this Temple Hayes, who's an international speaker, presenter. I knew her when she had an incredible congregation at her church in St. Petersburg. And then we also have our friend Luc. You've seen him here about a year ago. He was with us with the Goodness Tour. He just got back from Ukraine, and we're going to hear all about his experiences there. And as always, we have our beloved brother, Omashar, who will get us going with some music in a moment. But I want to make sure that everybody who is watching us on Facebook, and welcome, thank you to John and Summer Raymer. We're out over 100 Facebook groups and pages. So we really appreciate that. But I want to encourage you to come on into our Zoom room, and it's really easy to do that. Go to globalpeacetribe.com. Just open up a different browser, go to globalpeacetribe.com and register. And it's really, really easy. And once you register, you're going to get the links to all of our shows for the next 3 months. We actually are just now launching our next 3 months, taking you all the way through to the end of December. So go ahead, register, and then you can come on into the Zoom room and chat with us, talk more directly with Temple, with Omashar, with Luc. We have a beautiful community of friends, and we want to invite you to join that community. And for those of us who are already in the Zoom room, let us know where you are geographically. It's always interesting for our guests to see. And of course, I see a lot of our friends, and we've got people from New York, California, Canada, British Columbia, Australia, Ecuador. So that's pretty cool. Omashar, I am ready to turn it over to you. I know, I just saw you grabbing something there.
I was just going to put where I was located on my little keyboard, and I thought, oh wait.
I'll pop it in for you. How's that sound?
Brilliant. Just say I'm somewhere on the earth. Are we going to have a song?
Yes, please.
Namaste and aloha, everybody. How great it is to be here again. Goodness me, where else could we be on a Friday night? It's become kind of ingrained. It's a part of my rotation. So this song is called The One I Am.
Someone needs to admit to people.
The one I am has always been here, whispering songs of life and love. Come with knowing our day draws nearer. Come with love and endless love. Sacred dancing breathes our heart songs. Silent yearning keeps alive. A union blessed before beginning, preordained beyond all time. Each step I take is one step closer to you. The joyous stride into the new. Each breath I breathe takes me inside your heart. How to feel, and I remember how to fly. The one I am, fly. I am what I am. Open to our sacred merger, shedding tears of divine bliss. Every movement tells a story, and nothing could compare with this. Here in fullest understanding, and breathing light through every word. Our lives become so undemanding, finally seen, finally heard. Each step I take is one step closer
Thank you, Omashar. And a reminder, everybody, that you don't have to wait until the weekend to hear him play live on the Awakening World. You can go to Bandcamp and get all things Omashar there. Just go to omashar.bandcamp.com. And thank you, Omashar, for all that you've been doing. You've been a busy person with Peace Week, all the extra events with Sri and Kira.
I know. Sunday morning, they have a closing ceremony in Ecuador, and I actually had to get up way before my get-up time to be in alignment with them. So that'll be nice playing at their closing ceremony.
And I'll be joining you for that.
Well, brilliant.
Yes, I will be on together at the same time. So, and I get that information to everybody. What we're referencing is that Sri and Kira, you saw them on the show last weekend, had their big dedication of their peace pyramid a couple of nights ago. And then they're having a special additional ceremony that Omashar will be playing music at, and I'll offer a few words. So it's going to be fun, and it'll be on this Sunday morning, and we'll get that link into the chat box. And Omashar will be back later on in the show for a closing song. So thank you, Omashar, for being with us.
You're welcome. Aloha.
All right, I get to introduce our first guest. We have two guests tonight, and they're both really fascinating, amazing, wonderful human beings. This is Temple Hayes, and many of you may know her. She has been out there spreading the good word and spreading good love for a long, long time. I'm so grateful to finally have you on the Awakening World. I can't believe it's taken this long for us to find a time to come together, Temple.
You know, it's all how the tone is. Could you say, hey, this is Temple Hayes, and, you know, she's been out there? Or you could say, you know what? This is Temple Hayes, and she's been out there.
Well, that too.
And both would be absolutely correct. It's so good to see you again. As just my heart is so full just to be in your space. Thank you, Scott, for having me on, just to be part of this love vibe that you've created and the beautiful music we just witnessed. And what a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Temple. Well, we're going to talk about a lot of things with you. I'm eager to hear about the Yogananda musical, but I'd like to start by one of the things that you present yourself as a shamanic practitioner.
Yes.
And this is one of those places where you can talk very freely about that. Because, you know, so as someone that's been bridging worlds, you know, you've certainly been relatively mainstream. You had your own congregation in St. Petersburg. Tell us a little bit of what that's like for you, straddling worlds, you know, reaching as many people as you can, but also being a shamanic practitioner, or if you will, an urban shaman. What's that been like for you? Tell us a little bit about your journey.
You know, I guess for me, the evolution of the word congregation for me has been a modern day tribe. I'm currently serving at the tribe of Unity of Santa Barbara. So it just seems wherever I go, wherever I relocate, there's a tribal energy that I love to be a part of. I know many years ago when my teacher found me, because this is true in your soul DNA, if you have that shamanic essence, I mean, certainly you can sign up for courses and things like that, but it has a way of finding you. And so that's what happened. A teacher found me, and I studied with her in St. Petersburg, Florida for many, many years. And I'll tell you, Scott, she was quite devastated when I decided, rather than just full-time doing shamanic retreats and shamanic energy healing, that I would, in addition to that, I would work at, you know, global leadership and spiritual activism and those kind of things. And I said, you know, this is the path of my life. And so what shamanism offers me is the ability to have the tools to be grounded in the midst of whatever is going on in the external world. I can't imagine, you know, leaving home without it, if you will, without that in my toolkit. It also helps me understand so much beyond a person's psychology or their therapy, you know, but the deepening of past lives, things they have encountered, I've come to understand a lot of times when people want to shed layers about their issues, their challenges, their problems, they can't forgive their parents and they're already over 30 years old. I come to understand that a lot of times that's past life reality. So they're having an intentionality of working on something about right now, and it's the digging deeper or having someone who is trained in that understanding to go deeper and pull that at a cellular level or a past life level. So shamanism has been, one of the greatest blessings of my life. I attribute it to, there's a difference between living and dying and being truly alive. And I attribute the understanding of the shamanic journey and the wellspring that I'm able to draw from, as we all are. I'm no different than anyone else. It's just that I'm into the practice every day, and that I exceed most people that are my age and run circles around most 30-year-olds, because I'm fortunate to understand that I don't have to create the energy myself. So that's just a little tiny bit in the nutshell of a moment. And yes.
Well, you know what? There's so many wonderful things. Like as you were going through what you share, is like, oh, we got to talk about Andrew Harvey. Oh, we got to talk about sync activism.
I know.
Oh, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about that. But I guess riffing on the last thing you said, really understanding how you are a channel for spirit to flow through, and that way we're not swimming upstream. Would that be accurate for you? That you see yourself as a channel for spirit to flow through, and that is one of the reasons that you have more energy than the people that are kind of in the mindset of struggle, the mindset of doing. Would that be accurate for you?
Absolutely, because we've been duped. You know that, and I know that. We could spend 32 hours talking about it. Maybe one day we will. We've been programmed since the very beginning, since we sat in that first chair in a school, which isn't a mystery school, but it's a trained program school, that we are limited, that by the time we're 40, that we're old and we need products and we need pharmaceuticals and we need all those things. And that's how that we have been trained. And the greatest ancient medicine would be the medicine of the Chinese, of the tribes throughout the world, the Aborigines, and the natural medicine of one's life, which is to follow, one's own intuition about what the body needs, and, those kind of things. So this is the kind of learning that's not unique. We don't need to package it that only I have it, or, that person has it, but it's available to all of us. It's just, we learn to not be engaged and influenced by the externals that are always going around us. 24-hour news, imagery, terrible, awful. In that, there are realities that are very unfortunate, unkind, and of course those things exist. But at large, the world behind the world is a world of people that are kind, that are loving, that drum together, that dance together, that help each other heal their woundology and those kind of things. We're so much more than that. Now, the backward part of that, and I'm thinking, I was getting really emotional coming on to be with you and Luc and others tonight, because today is my real birthday, because I'm 35 years sober today. And
wow.
And I'm just like, I was just feeling very emotional about that, because I've already doubled my life expectancy because I was an absolute mess in that 15-year run. And I was just kind of humbled, by that and the space of that. And what I feel and know for my own path is that, a lot of people are listening right now, or you'll share this later and you'll share it with someone. I mean, all of us and what we're sharing, you'll share on the collective this program. And what I want people to understand is, yes, we have all had unfortunate circumstances happen to us, but we are trained that ages us, it depletes us. Good luck with that. Hopefully by the time you get all the way on the other side of that, I hope there's enough left of you to go on. where really in the spiritual journey in the shamanic world, everything that happens to you draws more of you out. You become more dynamic, you become more original, you have more self-esteem because of the things, the hardships, the experiences. So, yeah. So, excuse me, I'm used to filling 20 minutes, so I got to go stop.
Well, we've got an hour and a half tonight. We're going to share with Luc and with our
okay.
audience. And I'm really honored that we're with you on the 35th anniversary
I
of
am
your
too.
story. That's a really big deal. That really is significant. And so I'm going to ask you to consider something that we'll come back to. When I celebrate people's birthdays, I always like to ask them, what's their vision for the future? And then have all of us hold that vision. So I'm going to really stretch it with you. Since you're 35 years sober, we'll come back. Maybe Luc or Omashar will even play a happy birthday melody. But then I'd love to hear your vision for your life for the next 35 years. Usually I ask people just to do the next cycle around the sun, but since we're celebrating 35 years sober, I'd love to hear your vision for the future, for yourself, and we'll all hold that vision with you. How's that sound?
Sounds beautiful.
Great. I'm so honored that we get to be with you on this really special day. It's incredible. That's amazing. Well, to introduce Luc Temple, we're going to watch a video. He's been on this show before, but it was maybe about a year and a half ago. And he sent this video to me maybe 3 weeks ago. He had just gotten back from Ukraine. And the moment I watched, I said, oh, we've got to have Luc on the show again. So I'm going to play this video about his Goodness Tour, of what took place when they went to Ukraine and Poland. And then we're going to meet the man himself. He's with us. He's waiting in the wings. So we'll get to meet Luc in a moment. But let's take a look at the wonderful work of the Goodness Tour.
The war that currently rages in Ukraine has brought unspeakable devastation to millions of lives. As artists and humanitarians, the Goodness Tour team arrived in Poland with a multi-pronged mission: to bring our art and music therapies in service of the refugees and their children, as well as those who remain in Ukraine. To facilitate this, artist Benjamin Swates created 2 community murals inside of Ukraine. The first in Moshun, where 85% of the town was destroyed. Benjamin slept in a bombed building and took suggestions from the community to create a mural symbolizing families reuniting safely with their loved ones.
The black only touches the surface at the beginning, and then it is revealed where the bullets have hit the brick and the mortar, and some of the brick falls off as I paint. This is alchemy transforming these bullet holes.
The stork, a very important symbol for the village, symbolizes birth and prosperity, while the hands of faith hold the nest of their homecoming. This mural honors the hope, resilience, and love of all Ukrainians. In Lviv, he worked tirelessly along with 45 Ukrainian volunteers to create a mural that emphasizes a peaceful sunrise of a new day after the oppressor's attempt to steal the Ukrainian wheat production. This painting speaks of freedom, peace, and a renewed vitality of the land.
I am very thankful for this day, you and these people, because these people inspired me on something global and on something powerful.
While Ben was accomplishing this mission, the rest of the Goodness Tour team, Luc, Amanda, Safia, and Jeremiah, conducted art therapy sessions with over 100 Ukrainian refugee children.
Here we are. We got the crew, we got equipment. We're about to walk in right now, first day. We've been doing in the classroom is creating a feeling of normalcy,
being happy, being joyful, being together. And you just realize how much underneath, how much pain they've all gone through.
After 6 days in Ukraine, Benjamin returns to Poland and jumps right into the creation of an epic mural with many of the kids from the program, alongside Amanda, Yogananda, and legendary Polish muralist Mikołaj Reyes.
Art can change the world, and we should spread it all over the world to make a better place to live for everyone.
This intercultural mural represents the gratitude of the Ukrainian people for the amazing hospitality from the Polish and the promise of their peaceful return back to their homeland. We celebrated the end of our mission with a community concert in Krakow with music from Luc and the Lovingtons. A traditional Ukrainian folk group, chorali, and kids from the program.
The birthday is one and only one. Happy day, oh happy day, oh happy, happy day. Happy day, oh happy day, oh happy, happy day.
It was a beautiful night, a celebration of the joy and freedom that can flow when we unleash the artist inside all of us. Utilizing music, dance, art, and film. We have shared tears, but mostly smiles, laughter, and joy. And this is the power of art. Its unparalleled ability to bring a child or an adult into the moment and a space of total empowerment and well-being. Amidst the worst of circumstances, it provides a path to reclaim inner power, to feel human again.
Today we are literally painting our future, our children that are not afraid of Russian bullets and Russian shells, that change it into art.
My name's Arseny, and I'm from Ukraine, and I like music.
We will continue to do our jobs to amplify the voices of the Ukrainian people by providing tools of creativity for them to work with and to heal. If you are inspired to support the continuation of this work, please visit us at thegoodnesstour.org.
What powerful and important work. And I'm just so grateful that Luc is with us. So Luc, welcome to the Awakening World.
Hey, thank you very much, Scott. It's it's wonderful to be on here with all of you, and to be here with you, Temple Hayes, and Omashar. Thank you for that beautiful song. Was absolutely feeling it and swaying.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Luc, what are some of the things that you experienced that stood out for you during your time in Ukraine and Poland that we didn't see in that video?
Yeah, I instantly, what comes to mind is that one young kid that you saw in there, you saw in the end that he said, "I'm from Ukraine and I love music." Out of all the kids, there was so much, but he was a spirit and a person that really stood out to me because his just vigor for music and his courageousness, and he had been through so much, when we even when we connected with him a little bit about what he had gone through, so having to escape from Ukraine. And so in this moment we were in Krakow, Poland, and he and his family had to escape and cross the border. And just talking about it, he couldn't talk. He just burst into tears. And then he came back the next day and he wrote a song called Happy Day. And he wrote beautiful song about happiness, and he got out his guitar and he was working on changes, and I think he's actually 9 years old, and it was just so impressive, his bravery into moving into creation, and you could tell it was giving him so much energy. It was like his armor, but even better than that, it was like the blossoming of a real flower, real life for him, a place that he could create of love and joy to live in after having to run from war that he didn't create. But here's a space where he can create life as he sees it and make a beautiful song, happy day. So yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind amongst a lot of things. The kids and the families touched us so deeply.
He stood out certainly in your video. The war in Ukraine it's been something that has touched me because for 7 years, I've worked as a consultant with my best friend's company, Waverly Software. And when the war began, they had 200 employees in Kharkov. I've led retreats in Kharkov. I know a lot of people there. And of course, Matt, my buddy, saw that this might happen. He has a Ukrainian fiance. And then when the war happened, and Kharkov, by the way, is 30 miles, as you know, 30 miles from the Russian border. So it's very, very close. And it's where there's just been a tremendous amount of war and action. And so he had to get everybody out of there. And about half of his employees moved. They opened up an emergency office in Lviv, and they also opened up an office in Romania. And so that's where most everybody had to go to. But the conflicts, because most of these people have families and parents that don't want to leave their areas, or they have, a husband or a father that, is of military age. And so there's just the impact has been so extraordinary. And everybody, as you know, of course, everyone in Ukraine or connected to Ukraine is impacted and has had loved ones that have undergone terrible things, really terrible things. And so what struck me about your work in the Goodness Tour is finding that balance of acknowledging the pain, acknowledging, not just putting on a happy face, acknowledging that the horror of what's going on, but also, as you said, reminding them that they can create their own life. They can create music, they can create art. And this is what they do have control over. They have control over the art that they create. Tell us more about finding that balance of acknowledging the pain while celebrating life.
Yes, that's a great question. And, we have just found that creativity is such a powerful tool for healing, for empowerment. And it's like, we're there to hold the space of the great pain, and when a person is coming through great pain and great challenge, and also an unknown future, that can do so much to the mental health part of life and how a person feels. And we really try to offer this tool of sparking creativity. If we can help someone write a song, play the guitar, pick up a paintbrush, film, start to express, it is that way that can bring so much energy back. So it can be a next step, when someone is bursting into tears and telling their story or the moment that they just came from, to then move into a creative space, instantly gives the power back. And I feel like that's one of the special things with the Goodness Tour that we feel so honored to be a part of is that we actually are able to share moments of joy and incredible love and connectedness in the most tragic places, in the most tragic circumstances. And it's the power of the moment. We have to live moment by moment, and sometimes we can't escape a circumstance that is so excruciating. But what can we do in each moment to uplift ourselves and go to a space of love? And music and art and creativity are just such incredible tools for that. Just from another place.
I'm going to bring Temple back on so the three of us can dialogue a little bit. And I want to just remind everybody watching, give us your thoughts, your comments, your questions. I will, definitely read some of them. And some of the things that have already come in, of course, a lot of people appreciating Luc, the documentary, and the work you're doing. Jeffrey Colebrook reminds us that the Lovolution is the solution, and appreciates your Lovolution work. And also want to acknowledge all the different ways that people are participating in Peace Week. Temple, as you watch the video and as we talk about the balance of acknowledging pain, acknowledging the hard things in life, but also celebrating life, anything come up for you that you'd like to share? Because again, you have ministered to a lot of people in your life. And of course, part of ministering is ministering to people in the hard times, especially. What comes to your mind that you'd like to share?
Well, absolutely. Well, it's very evident that everything that Luc said, as far as I have discovered in my own life and others, is spot on. We're fortunate when we face tragedy, crisis, someone dies suddenly. We find out we have a diagnosis or whatever. I mean, our body naturally anesthetizes. And we're grateful for that, because there's not only the level of pain, but there's a level of pain that's so raw that if we felt it all at one time, there'd probably be a lot of people that would just be shocked out of this human incarnation. So I love the both and I think that in one way that's the misunderstanding of spirituality or new thought is that it's just a bunch of radical positive people running around. Then it's nothing could be further from the truth. We all have the shadow side of life. We have the light, the dark. We have the sun. We have the darkness. I mean, it's just, and so where we come from is a place of really common sense. I mean, I feel like people like you with the global work that you're doing, the global work, Peace Tribe, and some of the work I do, and Luc, is that we're tuning into this factor of humanity on a very common sense level, while at the same time, when you're talking about arts and dance and song, and I mean, we're tuning into the ancient part of who we are. And it's like wherever you are, whatever's going on, you can hear a beat of a drum and you have an awakening. You go, whoa, wait a minute. I'm connected to something. I'm part of something greater than this issue, this challenge, this crisis. And of course, with the Ukrainian children, I mean, I would never take on like magic words for that. I can't imagine. I think it's a space of in our own humanity that many of us just continue to teach. I mean, I'm fascinated, Scott, that we're even talking about the word war in 2021, for God's sakes. Are you kidding me? 2021. And, it's like, really? I mean, of all the genius, of all the creatives, of all the evolution, of all the spaces of accomplishment of going to the moon and all that, we have not yet figured that the answer isn't big power over little power, or bigger machines over little machines, or or just eliminating the energy of life rights altogether. These are living things. I mean, these are human beings, and all the other that goes with it, all the animals and all the creatures. And it's it's mind-boggling. And that's why these things you're doing on Friday, that's why the things that I dip into, I'm very involved with the Pyramid Society internationally, and just to keep tuned in, balanced. And yeah. So Luc, way to go.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, very, very life-giving, because you're having them tune into the fifth dimension, right, Scott? I mean, you have them leaving the third dimension of those things, if nothing else, just temporarily, and tapping into this vibration and a power that's greater, that is that woven fabric of, what makes us connected, which is, so powerful. I was on a show a couple of weeks ago, and the woman said, well, what would you say to people that are saying that maybe they would consider being spiritual? And I said, well, everybody's spiritual. And if you don't think you're spiritual, then you must be dead. And she said, what? And I said, well, you didn't tell yourself to breathe this morning when you woke up. You didn't get your heart to beat and push a button. Right. And so therefore, there's got to be something that is spirit beyond you that is giving us life. So you are really doing soul retrieval on these children. And you found a way to do it beyond methodology, bringing forth these tools and this artistic gift and the template that you're holding. And I think that's so important as a leader, or someone like Scott that's gathering people together. It's the energy, that how much energy can we hold for possibilities of knowing a truth, of knowing a peace, of knowing that something can emerge to something greater. That is what especially children see in our eyes.
Yeah.
It was Toni Morrison that said that, wasn't it, Scott? Be mindful that when the children look at you, that within your eyes they see hope.
We had
spark. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Scott. Yeah.
Sorry. We had Michael Beckwith on last week, and I really liked how he put it. He, talked about how our job, for everybody watching this show right now, is to raise our vibration and to live at the highest vibration we possibly can. And, again, acknowledge what's going on in the world with compassion, but as Jesus taught us, the difference between being in the world and being of the world. So we got to stay in compassion, and as Temple said, being spiritual is not, or new thought is not just happy, happy, happy. It's actually being very present to what is, and as best as I can tell, enlightenment isn't getting tapped on the head and waking up and being there all the time, because I don't know anybody that's happened to. But what I do know is that most of us learn as we mature how to be fully present to what is. And sometimes what is suffering. There is suffering. And we're present to the suffering with compassion. But instead of going into reactive judgment and falling into the pit of us versus them, we stay in that higher vibration. We stay in that fifth dimension reality, if you will, through music, through song, through dance, through whatever keeps our heart open. And as Rumi taught us, the pathway of the broken heart, it's a powerful pathway. And all of us are going to have heartbreak in our life. But if our heart breaks open to greater love, greater compassion. How did you experience the people in Ukraine? We talked a little bit about the children. How are the adults doing? What was your experience of the adults that have had to flee from Ukraine or have been impacted strongly?
Yeah, I mean, I would say from what I saw, just so much to hold, so much going on, just in their hearts and in their brains too, with the unknown, with the especially in Poland, like, when is the moment that I'll be able to go home, or how long am I on this journey of being away from home, so like really figuring out life, and so life now in a foreign country, and how is my kid gonna be okay, and I can just create so many levels of worry, and I'm sure the constant updating from inside Ukraine, what's happening, either an update through a husband or a son or a father, like you said, many of the men that are staying there, um, to fight, to enlist, and so I just notice a great weight, and then the gift of, I mean, I'm not a parent yet. I can't wait to be a parent. I'm a super uncle. I can't wait to be a father. But I can imagine when I see the parents, when we're working with the kids and the kids are dancing and singing and smiling and laughing, I see the parents' shoulders just go, "Oh," and I see that look in their eyes, like, just like, oh God, my kid is feeling all right now. My kid is going to be all right. My kid's having some good moments. And so that's a connection that I feel, we have with the parents.
Beautiful. Yeah. We're a little bit past the halfway point. And Luc, I would love for us to have some Luc music. Would you rather play your guitar and sing live, or would you rather that I play your video?
Well, maybe let's sing something live.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah. I was, and actually, Temple, you said something, what was it that really connected to this song, for me? I'm trying to, think what it was, but I can't remember, but it was a connection. And interestingly enough, this song actually took some inspiration from Michael Beckwith, who you mentioned. I was in Los Angeles, and actually our band Luc and the Lovingtons, a lot of Sundays we played at Agape.
And Agape, great.
Yeah, wow. It became like a home to us when we'd come through Southern California. And I went to I went one day to Agape, and he was doing a sermon, and his sermon was, "You better talk better." And he was talking about, you better talk better. You better talk better to yourself. And I had an experience. I don't know if it was that evening or the next evening, but I had just a moment where I was getting into that shadow that you talk about, where that's it. That's what you were talking about. And the shadow part of getting down on myself. I was really disappointed at some mark that I hadn't hit that day, or something that I'd wanted to do. And I started singing this song to myself, "You Better Talk Better." And I thought I could sing it now. And it's, to me, it's, I feel one of the greatest struggles in humanity is how we talk to ourselves. And
absolutely,
that being the starting point of if we can, how we can share peace, is how do we talk to ourselves? So here we go. There's a little voice in my head, serving up doubts in bed. It joins the choir singing in the pews of my mind. The scene of the crime, when there's no tenderness. I remember words from my dad. He said, son, here's the facts. Sometimes we're not the best left alone, too long detached. We can get ourselves into bad places in our heads. You better talk better, you better talk better, you better talk better, you better talk better to yourself. And every day comes with tests, even though I do my best. Somehow that voice goes searching for the mark I didn't hit. And the choir joins in the theme of unworthiness. And I was on a walk with a good friend. She was telling me about her struggles and how deep inside she doesn't feel like she's truly good. How could this be as I'm looking at one of the most beautiful human beings? You better talk better, you better talk better, you better talk better, you better talk better to yourself. Yeah. You better talk better, you better talk better, you better talk better, you better talk better to yourself. Hey. And in this space, I start to see this little critic that lives in me. I see he's afraid. He's terrified of change. So I give him love and welcome him. You live there inside, you're along for the ride, but I'm taking the wheel. You should hear the praise the choir in my mind sings now. Like a barrage of affirmations when I need it bad. On cue, they come in with the claps. Your light, your good, your love, your beauty, your wonder. You got this, you're so bright, you're born to shine. Now I'm better talking better, I'm better talking better, I'm better talking better, I'm better. Now that I'm talking better to myself. Don't you know I'm better talking better, I'm better talking better, I'm better talking better, I'm better. Now that I'm talking better to myself. Be nice to you. It's sweet. Yeah. Be nice to you. It's sweet. Yeah. Be nice to you. It's sweet. Yeah. Be nice to you. It's sweet.
Oh, that was great. Let's kind of go to gallery view. Let's all turn on your cameras and give them some twinkles. That was just beautiful. Just beautiful.
Yeah, let me go to view so I can see her. Now I can see everybody.
Yeah, I was popping the camera on some of our friends. So I'll go back to gallery view.
Yeah.
Everybody give them some twinkles so you can see. Oh, Josie Ann is with us and all sorts of our friends are with us tonight.
Yeah, my mom's on here. My mom, Carolyn, and my stepdad, Ron, and everybody. They got the camera off because they can't quite be in a place where they can show. But anyways, yeah.
Well, if your mom is watching, I want to just say congratulations. Thank you, Mom, for bringing this beautiful being into the world, and whatever you did, even when it was probably challenging at certain times, you did a great job because he's contributing to our world in wonderful ways. And I always like a chance to thank the moms because when I see a beautiful soul like yourself, there's usually a mom that gave a lot to make that happen.
Yes, thank you. You are so right. My mom is, wow. I'm so grateful. I really scored in this life with a unbelievable mom that I got.
Beautiful. Well, that's a good segue to bring Temple back on and to go where we had talked about
Speaking
before.
of mom, let's bring back Temple.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're like a mom to
Hey,
thousand.
and I have my mom. My mom is very much alive. So
Oh, good.
she and I are very close. Yes, she survived me and decided to have 2 more children after me. So God bless her. But there's a saying I say, if your mother thought enough to stretch so you could be born, you ought to think enough of yourself to keep stretching.
Wow.
Keep
And
stretching, keep reaching. Yes.
and that beautiful song that you just sang, Luc, really is all about that. Like really noticing what is our self-talk. And, Temple, you were talking about how we've been indoctrinated with so many untruths. And I think one of the greatest is that self-love is selfish. The idea that self-love is selfish. And people that I know in this world who are selfish don't have self-love. That's why they're constantly grasping for something outside of themselves to fill, because there isn't that foundation. But when we have healthy self-love, then we want to give to the world, because we're giving from the overflow. We're giving from that incredible flow that comes through. And so it does start with, positive self-talk and healthy self-love. Yeah.
Well, it sounds I think one of the things about some of the things we're talking about this evening is that the answer is so simple. The practice is a real deep dedication.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you are into scripture, I always say I just have my favorites and that's it, because there's a whole lot of war in the Bible. But it says to love your neighbor as yourself. And so many people skip that, as yourself, because that really is, and that's the beauty of this life, is everything you see outside of your own inner awareness is what you are projecting onto whatever that experience is. It fascinates me today that people can actually hear voices coming from a text or an email. Like, well, how could that person be upset with me? That's just unacceptable. And I'm like, well, what did they say? Well, they said they wouldn't be able to make it and we'd have to come together. So it's so much projecting, onto others when the unrest is often with us. So it's that, as I know with you, Scott, for many years, practicing stillness, quiet, just silence, sometimes just 3 or 4 minutes, can literally transform just the whole awakening experience in the moment. And anytime we are becoming self-righteous or wanting to control or all these kind of things, our shadow, our unhealthy part of us is needing to be silent. And that is the greatest medicine for it. So we have lots of natural medicine available to us. And it's just taking the time to learn what they are.
One of my favorite teachings comes from the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama allowed brain researchers to hook up electrodes to his brain where they tracked how he thinks and his process. And what they discovered was that at all times, his synapses were entirely firing in the frontal and temporal lobes. Now, when we get reactive, and it's perfectly human, and most of us still have moments where we get scared or we get reactive, and when the human brain perceives the possibility of attack, that's when the reptile brain takes over usually, and the synapses fire back here. But the movement of the human species is learning how to stay in the frontal lobe, how to stay in the temporal lobe. And what you just said, Temple, is the key to that. When we notice we start getting activated, when we start noticing that reaction, calm down, get silent, monitor our thoughts, come back to breath, come back to center.
Mhm.
So anyway, when they were doing this testing with the Dalai Lama, I'll bring Luc back onto this story also. Towards the end of the testing, the lead researcher decided to really challenge him. And he showed the Dalai Lama photographs of Chinese soldiers burning down a Tibetan temple. And as the Dalai Lama looked at these photographs, he wept. He wasn't stuffing his emotions, he wept. But his synapses are still firing up here. The lead researcher says, come on, what are you really feeling? You know that the Chinese soldiers, they tortured Tibetan people, they murdered Tibetan people, they raped Tibetan people. What are you really thinking and feeling when I remind you of this? Dalai Lama, synapses are still up here. Finally, he says, it reminds me that I must pray equally for the Chinese as I do for my Tibetan people.
Mm.
And what you were sharing, Temple, reminded me of that story, because this is the movement of the human species. We are going to have very difficult things happen in our lives. And learning how to slow down and respond from our frontal lobe, as opposed to reacting from our survival mechanism, from our reptile brain, is what we're learning how to do. You know, that is our new paradigm. That is fifth dimension reality, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and whether it's Marshall Rosenberg through nonviolent communication, or our beloved Yogananda through meditation, you know, there's many ways to learn how to do that, but learning how to get calm, how to get centered, how to choose music and art over anger, you know, towards the Tibetan people. I mean, towards the, you know, the people that are the oppressors, the Chinese.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
I think my practice, one of my values is being congruent, right? And so I think one of your greatest hopes is that the book you wrote, if somebody saw you in a shopping mall or a restaurant, then you're being congruent with whatever it was that you imparted or that you wrote. And I'm feeling called, if you're okay with it, to tell a quick story.
Yes, please do.
There's a story about a woman. She's really busy and she's rushing through town to get her projects done. And she is following a car, and they come up upon a yellow traffic light. And so she's just reassured that the man's going to go through it. And he doesn't. He slams on brakes. And so she puts her arm out the window and starts doing this rude sign language. And she's yelling and she's laying on her horn and just carrying on like you wouldn't believe. Well, in the meantime, a policeman happens to look over and proceeds to follow her and ask her to pull over. And he said, ma'am, I need your registration and your driver's license. And so he was gone a bit, and he comes back and he goes, ma'am, you're going to have to go into the station with me. So she goes in the station, and she's there for about an hour or so. And he comes out and he says, okay, ma'am, you're free to go now. And she said, well, that's really great, but I don't even know why I'm here. He said, well, ma'am, you have to see how things were from my point of view, because when I pulled up to your car, I saw all your bumper stickers. Coexist. Peace begins with me. Love your neighbor. Be kind. And he said, ma'am, I thought you were driving a stolen car. So I love that story. I remember that story. I carry that story in me, not to let the moments of my life and my practice be stolen, not to let the experience be stolen, to realize that the person waiting in the grocery line, the aisle with me, there could be an exchange there of just a moment that could transcend both of us or one of us. And so it is something not to drive a stolen car, but to really carry these bumper sticker truths that really lie embedded in your soul. Yes.
That is a great story. That's a
Yeah.
really good
Yeah.
story.
Yeah,
you.
like don't yeah, the whole Russian anger to your yoga class, or
Right.
yeah, the I love it, reminds me of the peace is every step.
Hmm.
I believe that's the title of Thich Nhat Hanh had that beautiful book, Peace is Every Step.
Yeah.
And I love that. There's no way to peace. Peace is
Hmm.
every step. And I absolutely agree with that, with just being in that in every way, and it's pretty nice too, because if you consistently are kind and consistently don't talk bad about people, you don't have to worry about later on, like being like, oh shoot, going for a job interview and they're like, oh, but we saw you yesterday being such a kind of a jerk at the, like, you never really have to worry about that if you're consistent. Yep.
Well, I would love to go to what we had talked about a little bit earlier, which is Temple. It's your 35th year sober, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And
Well, you know what? It's really great for everybody that was around me. I mean, I want to give them a great hand too, that they still hung around. But yes, thank you. Yes, it's definitely well, it's about listening, isn't it? It's about following your own path and knowing that no one can change the path of life that you are to go. I mean, that's the song The Whiz, right? And it's that connection of listening. And as my mom said when I told her a few months ago, I said, I've gotten messages, several, that I am to leave everything and relocate to Santa Barbara, California. And she said, well, since you were 5, you were listening, and you've always listened to spirit talk to you, and you've always listened, so I just need to support you. And then she said, and you've always listened. And I said, well, let's be real. There were like 15 years that, there wasn't much listening, going on. So anyway.
what is the key to starting your sobriety, and what's been the key to maintaining it?
Well, I run into many people that, they say that they can't imagine doing this life without, being taking a drink. And I'll just, if I may, I'll just read you what I wrote today. I share my truth not for pats on the back, yet for the person out there that believes life is too hard to live in it without drinking. Apologizing for who I was every day, that was hard. Not remembering where my car was, that was hard. Having many major car wrecks and almost killing myself, that was hard. Slow suicide, that was hard. Having my dad pick me up from jail twice, that was hard. Feeling guilty about not remembering what I couldn't remember, that was hard. Being sober, easy. To naturally flow with the laws of life and step into your greatness, the path is ready for you. Just step on it. And that is really in my work through the years, Scott, and being open and never being a secret about my sobriety. I do it for the one person that might go, oh, well, maybe it's time that I reinvent my life, or maybe it's time that I say no. But that being said, I really think it's about a person deciding to start that day. And that's what I did September 23rd, 1987, is I said, I can't ever do that again. I actually was given a vision. And basically the voice said, it was almost like the skies parted and said, if you want to live, don't ever drink again. And so I simply did not. But that said, it's about also being in alignment with who you are. And when we're going against the grain, there's pain and suffering. And when we are listening, then we develop more of a self-esteem and things. But I would say, and I would be interested in seeing what you and Luke say as well, that of many of the addicts that I've met on this planet, they are some of the most gifted people that have now filled in that hole in their soul, and they're trying to fill it up. There's that inner rejection, and as we know, alcoholism, suicide of teenagers, and opiates, and all those things, they are really the number one cause of death. But a lot of it is not really promoted, or it's given a third reason as to why people die. But it's pretty huge in our society. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, because we want people to know that there's other ways. Yes.
Yeah.
Other answers, other solutions. So,
Just on the topic, first of all, thank you for sharing that.
mm.
Really beautiful. Thank you. And inspiring. And already George is asking if you help others to work on their addictions. Is that a service?
Absolutely. Absolutely. On my website, you can contact me through there, or messenger on Facebook. Absolutely. It's sometimes my greatest honor, to be able to do so. And, one of the things, Scott, that fascinates me is people can get into like a hallucinated state of waiting to find their purpose. I'm waiting to find my purpose. Oh, I'm going to Switzerland to take a weekend course so I can find my purpose. And there is something to be said for that, and good for anyone that does that. But what I enjoy is coming to an encounter with someone like yourself, someone like Luke, so many people that are on this view that your purpose is not a something, it's you. Your purpose
Yes.
is you. It's not a something, it's not a doing. There's someone with MS that can be paralyzed from the neck down. Actually just met that story through someone. Their purpose isn't doing, it's the being, it's the transmitting of the high vibration. It's responding to, right is what's right in front of you. And we saw the documentary and we're going, wow, are we doing enough? Or we took up money for you, Camp Crane, are we doing enough? But we do what presents itself right in front of us. I'm having the best time right now because I'm helping this tribe outside of Nairobi get goats and chickens. And it's just like, it's like one of the greatest joys of my life. And it's not huge. Okay. And this is what sometimes in our society we're going, well, when I get my first millions, I'll do something, or, when I have time, I'll do something. And the truth of the matter is, with the work that you promote all the time with your global peace tribe, if everybody just does a little, no one would ever have to do anything big, really. So
Yeah, that's beautiful. So much wisdom in what you just shared. Thank you. Thank you. Well, while we have the spotlight on you, what is your vision for your next 35 years? Or if you want, just for the future, what's the vision we can hold for you on this special birthday of yours?
One of the things I've had on my website is living for the words yet to be spoken. And I hold a vision that in a window of time, and I want to see it in my lifetime, that we will be talking about all these things in past tense.
Mm.
That I will be able to say to my goddaughter, when she's graduating, she's almost 7 now, and I'll be able to say, you may not remember this, but there was a time that someone was killed because of their sexual preference. There was a time when we separated families and called them immigrants. There was a time when we literally killed each other. There was a time when people killed themselves because they just couldn't cope with what was going on. So I see that we are emerging into this new age of Aquarius and a new vibration. And I hold that the things we're working on right now, we would be able to look back and go, that was then. That would be just the greatest joy that people would value life and all living things, and that a lot of people would be more into plant medicine instead of eating animals and, those kind of things, because that's there's just so much wisdom, Scott, and so much that we know. And we look at the greats like Yogananda, we look at the Fillmores that created unity, we look at Dr. Emoto, who brought in the power of water. I mean, there's so many sages and elders that have walked this planet, that they had that inner wisdom of how to live daily and what to put in your body, so that you could exemplify a much greater truth of who you are. So
Well,
thank you for asking.
absolutely. Well, and you are that. So I'm just going to hold the vision of 35 more years of you being exactly who you are in that vibration,
Thank you.
playing its role in raising the vibration. And you brought up my beloved master teacher.
Oh my God.
This has always been my favorite photograph of him. It was taken just an hour before he passed. And I would love to ask you, you have relocated from the East Coast to Santa Barbara for a very special mission having to do with our beloved Yogananda. Tell us about this.
Absolutely. And quickly, you know the story about him that day, right? That he was getting ready to do his talk to the ambassador of India there at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles on Grand Ave. And that's actually where we're doing this musical. But on that day, when the assistant walked in to say, it's time to go, he was staring, gazing at his guru. And he looked at his assistant and said, "It's just going to be a few hours now."
Wow.
And his assistant said, "What will we do without you?" And he said, "Just love." So they get to the Millennium Biltmore Hotel. He does his talk. He does a beautiful poem, which I will be featuring in the narration in the musical. And he goes over to the fountain and he leaves his body.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And his body never decayed. It smelled of roses, and I think they kept it for 3 weeks with no decay, just this beautiful, his scent was rose. And
yes, it's been 70 years, March the 7th, 1952, if you can imagine. And it is phenomenal, as I've had the honor of being picked for this narration. Michael Beckwith is going to do the opening prayer. Reverend Dr. Sister Jenna is going to do the closing. I'm doing the narrative from the dance, and all original music is being written. Myron McKinley is doing the music production. He's the director of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So it's just so
musical. So give us the context, because you're
Yeah.
just giving us little things, but
Yep.
it's a musical
It's a musical play about his life and his message. And one of the things that we are knowing is that there's this new revolution of Yogananda, and some of the songs are somewhat hip hop. And so we're knowing it's going to reach, a lot of the young people as well. One of the songs got 18,000 views in 2 weeks on YouTube. So it's and we're very open to where it will go. And for me, my learning on the shamanic journey is I am detached to where something can go, and I am extremely attached to doing the best I can do. So that in that space, I just love the space. I feel spiritually like Yogananda called me forth, and so whatever happens, and however many times we perform this play, and wherever we go with it, or if it becomes a film or whatever, I have this true leader, teacher, guide that's now a very active part of my life. And I am so grateful for that, because I was reading him when I was 19, a bit ago, and learning and studying him. But now, as I'm sure with you, Scott, when we go back and we breathe these words, the presence. And when we're rehearsing, we all have goosebumps all over us. And when they approach the Millennium Biltmore, one of the main assistants there, the answer was, yes, we would love you to have the play here. And yes, we've been waiting on Yogananda to come.
Wow.
Bam.
So it's going to, do we have a date of when it's going to open yet?
November 17th.
November 17th. And is it
Yes.
a one-time thing or a week run or?
As of right now, it's a one-night thing, and yet it has too much fire to it. It's probably not a good word to use in California. Let me think of another one. It's too much energy that it is inevitable that it's going to go, many, many places in many directions. But on any of my social, the information is there, and on all my social pages is at Temple Hayes. So you can go to that and find out how to get tickets. And it's just been so magical, but just the energy around it.
So there's a couple of ways to find Temple. Since she's just mentioned that, you can find her on Facebook. And a lot of you are watching us on Facebook right now. And there it is. There's the information. So to take that and put it into our Zoom chat room, Yogananda, the spiritual musical, his life, his message at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel in LA, November 17th. I'm going to do my best to try and be there.
I would love that.
Absolutely.
And I would love to introduce you to some people. There's a guru coming from the Netherlands, and you would meet some very interesting people that have already been attracted in this vibration.
I am
really cool,
because that's, well, I don't want to make it about me, but I could tell many stories about how Yogananda has touched my life.
Well, I would like to have another time that we talk, because I would love to.
Let's do that.
Love
before
that. I would love that.
Yeah,
please.
let's
Yeah.
definitely do that. Let's
Okay.
do that. Well, thank you. We'll say goodbye to you in a moment. This isn't the final goodbye, but I do want to show another video of Luc. And he called it Luc and the Lovingtons. And this is another example of their wonderful work. Let's take a look at Luc and the Lovingtons, Loving Away.
Why would you not want to see somebody shine? Why would you not want to get your whole mind blown by this love? And if you get it, you could really fly by seeing all your folks grow and climb, because you lift them up. I got those thorns and those bitter seeds, but I always share the sweetest part of me, because I'm not equipped to judge. So every day I keep joy in my walk, love in my talk, peace in my house. I keep joy in my walk, love in my talk, peace in my house. You're welcome to 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 my house. I've been severed from the family tree, and there's an itty bitty friend in me that says no, you can't go up. And I've been dancing with him my whole life, and a friend, I'm gonna make him mine, and let's go. We'll be smiling up. So every day I keep joy in my walk, love in my talk, peace in my house. I keep joy in my walk, love in my talk, peace in my house. You're welcome to 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 my house. Riding on that path to free, have on my shelf. When I grow that joy in myself, and how I love to see my friends shine, always coming with that smile. And we'll be climbing up, everybody with a full cup. You're welcome to my house, you're welcome to my house, you're welcome to my house. You're welcome to my house, you're welcome to my house, you're welcome to my house. Even if you kick me out, you're welcome to my house, you're welcome to my house. You're welcome to my house, you're welcome to my house, you're welcome to my house.
I love that video. It's the first time I've seen it. You had, just sent it to me before the show started, so I didn't get a chance to watch it before. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, it was great. For me, it just filled me up too, even though I've seen it thousands of times, but it just right now just gave me so much love and energy. That's so great that it still does that to me. Yeah. That's like one of the, I think, things I'm most proud of being a part of in my life of creation. Because that song, so many people came together to make that. I mean, that was like almost a year to 6 month long journey just making that whole thing. And we actually partnered with Voices of the Children from Mount Vernon, and we went together that was part of that was in a Syrian refugee camp in northern Jordan called Zaatari. At one point 40,000 refugees, just 10 miles from the southern border of Syria. And we had gone over there and went over there and did a program, about a month-long program with the youth there in music and painting. And we were actually leaving from the first part of our program, and we were sharing this song, Welcome to My House, that I was still finishing writing with my band, Luc and the Lovingtons. And they started singing it in Arabic, and they started singing Welcome to My House. And they were singing in front of these makeshift homes in the refugee camp, and they're standing in front of those and they're saying, "You're welcome to my house," and they're singing it with such love. And we could see the mountains of Syria behind them and how they had to escape their home, and they're still singing, "You're welcome to my house." And we were like, that is the greatest example of human hospitality, across borders. And so we decided to to come fly back and do the music video with them and the kids singing. And
Wow.
yeah, it was such a journey.
Wow. Well, we
Yeah.
actually have a special guest with us, my friend Josie Ann from Florida, who's going to be doing a whole show with us in 2 weeks, is here. So I'm going to actually add her because she is an amazing source of love, of peace. And she was very touched by your song. So Josie Ann, rather than reading your comment, if you unmute yourself, you can share it directly.
Sure. Oh my gosh, Luc, I love your videos, your music. It's love, 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 and temple. Ooh, I just bow to your resilience and all the love that each one of you, including Scott, just prayed, naturally. That's what we are all for, being forces for good in this world. Each one of us who's watching, Luc is doing some amazing things. He has superpowers, but each one of us is a superpower, woman and man. I just want to remind you of that. Don't lose hope. Every little thing that we are doing in life that comes from our heart is guided with our higher self and full of love. And because there's something called the monkey effect, that each one of us is doing a little thing full of love, we have the power to make a difference miles away. So don't give up. Don't think you have to travel sometimes. I mean, when you're stuck or you might be sick or you might have something going on, like an addiction or anything else, we each are connected. We are each other. And the projections are not only negative, they could be positive. We can project our best qualities upon Scott, upon Temple, upon Luc, when we have the same ones too. It takes one to see one. It takes one to see one. So every one of us is Temple, is Luc, and Scott. Okay, I just wanted to share that.
Well, I love your enthusiasm, my friend. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So much truth. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you definitely spoke for a lot of our audience, because of course everybody is really appreciating, Luc and Temple and the beautiful videos and their offerings. And share with us a little bit, Josie Ann. 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to be doing a show with you and Montauk Chia. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm looking forward to it. It's basically going to be about compassionate love, which is what Temple and Luc are all about. Without saying it, it's about unconditional love and compassion, which was actually Yeshua's teachings. So Jesus, and that we are somehow lost translation, and we are coming back to it. And what I did is, so I wrote this book. It's an academic book, but it's really for everyone, about how the struggles, our suffering, are actually can be transmuted by us through love. And when we do that, we don't come back into just being regular. We come back and we thrive. We can thrive and be super men and women. And it's so important to remember that we are divine and we are the image and likeness of God, each one of us. And it's so important to remember that. So so in 2 weeks with Montauk Chia, what is going to share with us is the healing love that is happening between a couple. And this is how to through this patriarchal system, we've lost traces of who we are, and can reset. It's a reset about how to be aligned with our sexuality and spirituality that have been separated. So it's to bring them back and to see how powerful we can be as a couple, in a relationship, in an intimate relationship. So my book was about that, but Montauk is going to give us clues about how to do it with exercises. it's going to be a fun moment to know of and how our bodies can really react in a positive way, whether we are in a relationship or not. So you don't need to be with somebody. You can do it on yourself and have self-love, multiply and be actually tapping into your powers to be everything you want, from healthy to wealthy to love, to being loved. So it's so important to be there in 2 weeks. People, we love you. Mantak is like getting ready. He's in Thailand and I'm excited. I'm talking to him and he's like, you have an accent. I have an accent, but he's worse than me. Okay, so I hope we're going to understand what he's going to say, but it's all going to be about love and the power of love and how we can deal with that.
Josiane, thank you. I love your enthusiasm and your passion. We're going to have a great time in 2 weeks. Thank you. And thanks for being with us tonight. I know it's after midnight East Coast time, but you haven't turned into a pumpkin, so that's good. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
I'm on the East Coast too. Oh yeah, it is.
Oh, you're on East Coast too. Look, I didn't know that. Where are you geographically right now?
I'm in Toronto. I'm in Toronto right now.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I want to tell people where they can find out more about the wonderful work you're doing with the Goodness Tour. So his website, which we're looking at now, is thegoodnesstour.org. thegoodnesstour.org. And I sure want to encourage you, let's donate tonight. I should have actually brought this up a little bit earlier, but I'm certainly going to donate. And I got to put an amount here. Let's go with 77. So I want to encourage everybody to do what I'm doing right now, which is to, my password's locked. I'll do this after the show so that people aren't seeing my password. But let's all donate to Luc and the Goodness Tour tonight. Really appreciate the great work that you're doing, Luc. And Temple, again, happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's just beautiful to have both of you. And I definitely, Temple, I'll text you. Let's schedule a time to just talk about Yogananda in anticipation of November 17th. That'll be.
Oh, I'd love that. I would love that. Please, yes. That would mean a lot. And it's been great to be with you too, and all of you this evening, because we've shared this wonderful space together.
And a special shout out, if she's watching, to Wendy, our mutual friend Wendy, who helped reconnect us. So Wendy, we love you very much.
Yes, we love you very
I also
much.
want to let people know about tomorrow night. This is very important. So tomorrow night's show is going to be a little bit different. I'm collaborating with the Peace Week people, and we're having our closing gala. So I'll be co-hosting with Ben Bowler and Teresa Collins. And instead of our regular time of 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, we're coming on 2 hours earlier because we're all kind of combining our energies tomorrow. It's the 99th day. We've been celebrating 99 days of global unity starting way back in June. And tomorrow is the 99th day. So we're going to have a closing gala. Michael Beckwith, John Raymer, Dan Leah, all the people you see on this poster are going to be with us. It's going to be a very powerful show. Kristen Hoffman will be playing music. Anna Suya Hallelujah will be with us. It's going to be a powerful show. But everybody, please note, it starts 2 hours earlier than usual. And it's a different Zoom room. It's not going to be your Awakening World Zoom room. It's the room 1 Zoom room for Peace Week. I'll put that into the chat box. I've sent out an email to everybody on our list, letting them know that. I just want to, remind you one more time. And so please do join us for this very wonderful special closing gala as we close out 99 days of global unity. And in the beginning, there was Omashar, and we like to conclude with Omashar. And I'm looking for him to turn his camera.
He's here. I'm here.
There he is.
There he is. Holy smoke, Luc and Temple and Scott, I have been brought to my knees tonight. And I'm pretty much every week, I'm either crying, or my heart's been broken open even further. But tonight I'm on my knees, and just what a beautiful discourse between Luc and Temple and you. And something that was in your earlier song, Luc, I think your father told you, the first song you sang, it was about being separate from other people, and how when you're separate from other people, sometimes things can go awry with your mind. I forget the line exactly. I was going to write it down, but I was listening to the song and I thought, wow. Do you remember that line?
Yeah, it was.
About being detached.
I remember it was from my dad. Says, son, here's the facts. Sometimes we can. Oh my gosh, outside of the song, it's hard. If we spend too much time alone, detached,
there
we
it is.
get ourselves into bad places in our heads.
Right. And yes, so yeah. So here we are, the Global Peace Tribe. Even if we have to be individual, we're still together. So thank you.
Yes.
So I'm going to play a song, a gentle song, and your video was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Wow. Dude. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no words. I'm just going to bumble if I try and put words in there.
Sometimes it feels so hard to move along,
Saying goodbye to yesterday.
Take heart, my friends, there is a new song
Bringing us back
to
our homelands.
When something troubles you, just call out my name.
I'm the one
who loves you. Be still within. Hear what I say, and give me the chance to be with you. We are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. So when you're feeling down and on your own, take a look around. I am in everything. Give me your burden, walk into my arms. I will lift you up, I will hold you. We are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. There are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. We are the ones who hear the new voice calling us home to freedom. Fear not, my friends, this is a new place full of new joys and happiness. Yes, we are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union.
so much love.
Oh, twinkle our beloved brother Omashar. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whole gallery view. There's everybody.
Wow, that was awesome.
Oh.
The love that we share is palpable. I can feel it through the walls. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Omashar. Love you so much. And thank you, everybody, for another beautiful, beautiful evening. Thank you, Temple. Happy birthday. Thank you so much, Luc, for the great work you're doing in the world. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Each and every one of you, as Temple was saying, as Josiane reminded us, every single person, you're all making a difference just by raising your vibration. Remember to smile at the person at the checkout counter and smile at each other. And I hope to see all of you tomorrow as we celebrate the 99th day of 99 Days of Global Unity. See you tomorrow. God's blessings, everybody, and good night.
Good night.
Blessings.